Clear your mind with Stoic wisdom. What if the storm inside your mind could finally calm? Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. This is the story of Jim, a husband, a father, a man on the edge, who found clarity not through escape, but through ancient wisdom. When fear, illness, and uncertainty consumed his life, the words of Roman philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus reached across centuries to guide him home to peace. Inspired by the book collection by Dr. Farid Mostamund, this journey blends modern life with timeless Stoic teachings. Clear your mind with Stoic wisdom. Jim is a 35-year-old husband and father of two, quietly unraveling. From the outside, his life looked stable. He had a steady job in finance, a warm home in the suburbs, and a family he loved deeply. But his mind had become a battlefield. Layoffs were shaking his company. His wife, Martha, had just been diagnosed with breast cancer. And looming above all this was the fear that losing his job would also mean losing their health insurance. Thought haunted him, at work, at home, even in sleep. He would sit beside Martha, helping her fold laundry, but his gaze would drift into nothingness. At night, he lay awake, his mind swimming in what-ifs. What if we lose the house? What if I can't protect them? Fear ruled every breath. Then something small but powerful changed everything. During a tense lunch break, a colleague named Daniel placed a book on the table in front of him. "You ever read Marcus Aurelius?" he asked. He was a Roman emperor who wrote about stuff like this. Jim nodded vaguely, uninterested at first, but that night something pulled him to crack it open. As he turned the pages, he found himself reading the thoughts of a man who had once ruled the greatest empire on earth, yet wrestled with the same inner storms. One line struck like lightning: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." As Jim absorbed the words, the scene shifted, 2,000 years back, to a candlelit Roman chamber. Marcus Aurelius sits in silence, writing by oil lamp, wrapped in a cloak against the chill. Outside, soldiers march in the cold, and news of plague spreads across the empire. His face is serene, yet resolute. He writes not to boast, but to endure. He knows he cannot stop the chaos, but he can shape how he meets it. That same night, in the present, Jim sits in his dim kitchen, staring at those exact words, feeling something inside him steady for the first time in weeks. The next day, Jim walks to work instead of driving. For the first time in a while, he notices the feel of the air, the sound of birds. It doesn't fix anything, but it grounds him. He buys a notebook and begins writing down thoughts each evening. Martha watches him quietly as he seems just a little more present. Slowly, something begins to shift. Hungry for more, Jim finds the writings of Epictetus, a former slave-turned philosopher. It is not events that disturb people, he reads, but their judgments about them. The screen fades to ancient Greece. In a humble stone courtyard, Epictetus limps slightly as he walks among his students, his voice clear, almost stern. He raises his hand and says, "If someone insults you, is it their action or your reaction that causes pain?" The students nod in reflection. Back in modern times, Jim catches himself spiraling over a medical bill, but then pauses and asks, "Is this happening now? Or is it just in my head?"
Is this happening now?
That moment of awareness breaks the cycle. He exhales. Still, it isn't easy. The fear doesn't vanish. But now Jim has tools. He journals. He talks openly with Martha, who smiles more now, even amid chemo sessions. They begin taking walks together.
Great hustle out there. Let's keep that
On
energy
weekends,
up.
Jim volunteers as an assistant coach for his daughter's soccer
It's good to
team.
be able to help out.
He cooks meals at a
Small
local
things
shelter.
can make a big difference.
Helping others lifts his gaze beyond his own worry. Another quote becomes his compass.
Don't seek for everything
Don't seek for everything to happen as you wish it would, but rather wish that everything happens as it actually will. In Rome, Marcus Aurelius walks among his troops at the front lines of a northern campaign. His face is lined with age and care, but his voice is calm. He speaks to a young soldier who lost his brother in battle. You cannot control death, but you can honor life. In Jim's world, he's sitting with his son, helping his daughter with homework, his mind no longer racing. He doesn't check work emails after 6 anymore. He no longer clings to control, but meets life as it is. Then came the promotion.
Jim's leadership
Unexpected
under
but
pressure
well
has been
earned.
truly commendable.
His supervisor
We're all
praises
very
his
proud of his
steadiness
personal
under
growth and
pressure
emotional
and his
strength.
leadership during layoffs. But what really matters to Jim isn't the title. It's that he wakes up each morning without dread. He walks into his house with ease. He no longer views adversity as a threat, but as a teacher. Seneca, draped in a simple toga, speaks to a group of students in a candlelit hall. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he says. One student fidgets nervously. Seneca places a hand on his shoulder and adds, "Live today. Tomorrow may never come."
Good to write it all down.
Those words, those spoken centuries
weight off
ago,
my chest now.
reach across time and settle in Jim's heart. He closes his journal for the night, kisses Martha's forehead, and watches the soft rise and fall of her breathing with gratitude.
Live
He knows they're not out of the woods, but he also knows he can face anything, not because life is easy, but because his spirit is ready. Jim's story is not just about recovery, it's about transformation. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, he found not a cure, but a compass. He learned that freedom is not the absence of hardship, but the power to meet it with clarity, virtue, and grace. He discovered, like Marcus, Epictetus, and Seneca, that while we cannot command the storms of life, we can learn to steer our ships. And in that quiet act of steering, of choosing courage over chaos, he found a peace that no title or paycheck could ever give. If this video touched your heart, subscribe. It's inspired by the timeless wisdom in the 7-book Rumi collection by Dr. Farid Mostaman. Whether you seek healing, love, clarity, or growth, these teachings will guide you inward to the truth of who you are.